video, I want to riff around safety and consider turning some of the norms about safety in relationship and in life on their head. Here's the first thing. A woman, or a man, but usually a woman, is going out online, going to meet someone on a first date. And she's trying to ascertain, is he safe? It's usually a him. But is he safe? And safety from what? Am I going to be mugged? Am I going to be raped? Am I going to be coerced? Am I going to end up in an unsafe place as a result of connecting? And there's a lot of, hesitation and filters. A lot of dates won't happen because she is not entirely sure, or there's some red flags. And the question is this really safe? And to look at this, we have to look at statistics, statistics of mugging and rape. And, there is the very rare, murder as well. But the statistics. And then we have to compare that with the statistics of loneliness, which is a disease, depression, which is a disease, fear, paranoia, which is a disease, panic, fear, So what we know is that, for example, 1 in 4 American adults will experience mental emotional disease per year, whether it's depression, anxiety attacks, etc., loneliness, isolation, etc. So the question is, which is more dangerous? Depression, loneliness, addiction. Addiction is coping mechanisms for loneliness or anxiety, etc. These are statistically far more likely to kill or shorten the life or damage the health of an individual than an unpleasant date. Now, an unpleasant date is, horrible. There's no question about it. And there's probably 10%, somewhere 5 to 10% chance of an unpleasant date. It just doesn't feel right. There might be a, maybe a 1 in 10,000%, like 1 in 10,000 might feel sexual coercion, or I'm not quite sure what the rape or violence statistics are, but they're very low, in the 10,000 to a couple 100,000 dates, have real health, violent issues going on. And isolation, depression, anxiety are really high. And we are a social species. And so when you avoid contact and avoid all risk, rather than using discernment and responding to the individual, particularly I think when we get too obsessed with red flags rather than actually seeing the person we're connecting with, we definitely, there is a guaranteed risk of shame, isolation, paranoia. We have to make up a story that is unpleasant and scary about why we are not going to get to know someone new or form a friendship. That story is not good. The story is, women are a waste of time, men are jerks, men can't be trusted. These stories have impact on our psyche. They affect our attitude. I mean, like, if men, i.e. 50% of the population, are not safe, and you're surrounded by men day in and day out, and you don't know any of them to question your statistics, if men are not safe, and most strangers aren't safe, etc., the world isn't safe. Now, the actual statistics don't back this up. Most strangers will not hurt us, male or female. Most strangers are basically good. When we create stories that the typical stranger is not, we create paranoia. So I think the real question is not, is it risky to go on a date? Is it risky to spend time with a stranger? Is it risky to become vulnerable? Is it risky to care? Is it risky to bond deeply? That's not the real question. Everything is a risk. The question is it more risky to be depressed, anxious, isolated, angry, and lonely than to go on 10 or 20 different dates and find, the people within the mix of strangers that we can form deep, healthy bonds with? The other question, is it safe to form statistics? Is it safe to say, anyone who, does this, that's a red flag, no, I don't want that. Is it safe to have this long list of people that are unsafe to be with? Or is it more safe to get to know individuals, their strengths, their weaknesses, what brings out the best in them, what brings out the worst in them, and assess, okay, I can bring out the best in this person, and I'm up for doing that a couple of hours a week or a couple hours a month. I can connect really well in this area, but not at all in this area. And deepen the level of social ties in our life and resources available to us in times of need. What is more safe? And in general, what I would suggest is that going through the projections and getting to know individuals on an intimate one-on-one level, who they are, really looking, wanting to look, not wanting to be lied to, not wanting to be in a black or white world. I would also say, as part of that, one strategy of safety is to have very casual interactions for a long time as a way to get to know someone, because I don't know you well enough to get to know you. Another strategy, and so there's a little bit of a flaw in this strategy. Another strategy is to say, I don't know you and I will never know you unless I spend a good block of time with you. So I'm going to get to know you in a deep immersion where you can't hide. There are no secrets in a deep immersion. You spend, 4 hours to 12 hours with someone. You get to know their energy levels. You get to know their conversation style. You get to know a lot about them if you talk vulnerably. And so in this way, you actually get to know someone by knowing them, as opposed to not wanting to spend time with them because you don't know them, and not knowing them because you don't spend time with them. So there's a flip in that area as well.